What we're going to be looking at today is aging in different cultures and the effect this may have on successful aging. We're specifically going to be looking at the cultures of aging in Spain and Japan. So aging is experienced through both biological changes and human experiences in social and cultural ways. By looking at the cross-cultural differences in aging population, we will be exploring the statistics of aging in different cultures, policy and government assistance for people 65 years plus, what successful aging really means, and the ways to improve the limitations of successful aging. We will be comparing the differences in aging between Western and Eastern culture. As of 2015, 26.7% of Japan's total population was aged 65 years plus, with the average life expectancy of a male to be 78 and a female to be 85 years old. There was an estimation made that this proportion would reach 30.3% by year 2025. Even with such a high prevalence of senior citizens, it was not until year 2000 that the government supported nursing care facilities. The healthcare system within Japan does involve equal access for all demographics, and this combined with the growing and improving facilities for long-term care has a positive influence on the life expectancy of senior citizens as well as the quality of life of the aging populations. With an increase of life expectancy, issues regarding retirement age from work and therefore income of older adults has become more of an issue. A survey done on Japanese people aged 55 to 69 showed that 79.2% of men and 67.6% of women worked into their old age for financial reasons. Therefore, the retirement age from the workplace most likely adds a financial burden onto the lives of the aging population. A study was done that asked why unemployed older adults chose not to work. Only 15.7% of the retired Japanese population reported that this was due to interest in doing other things outside of work. These findings suggest that a majority of the retired community in Japan did not choose to retire due to this reason. Those who chose to work beyond their retirement age risked the loss of their pension plans due to high income, and it was found that 57.6% of those with terminated pension plans received a pension of 200,000 Japanese yen. This information demonstrates that those who received a high salary prior to retirement or through retirement are more likely to have their pension plans terminated. The system is penalizing those who have high paid salaries and therefore limiting individuals based on their age and retirement. In order to improve the workplace environment for the aging population, the Ministry of Labor within Japan has proposed that 1. There be more consideration of health issues within the workplace, that 2. There be review of wage systems and retirement ages, and then also that there is reconsideration of job content with older age and workplace environment to make it more accessible for all ages. The retirement age in Japan is currently at 60 years old, but future improvements are working towards increasing this to 65 years. There are no policies for improvement at the moment, but currently there are financial rewards for companies who extend their retirement age to 70 or for those who abolish retirement ages altogether. Successful aging can be viewed as a physical, emotional, and social well-being in older age. The factors that affect well-being can be implicated by and controlled by the healthcare system and policies surrounding old age pension plans, the workplace, and societal norms in respect to ageism and popular opinion regarding age. The cultural differences may have an impact on this, just in their difference of respect for their elders, as well as reinforcement of dynamic thoughtfulness through younger adult years. This can be seen in a study done in which Western and Eastern cultures are compared. This specifically looks at social conflicts within Japan and North America. It was found that older age was associated with high recognition of multiple perspectives, less limitations of personal knowledge, and an increased value of compromise within North America. The culture within Japan was found to focus on maintaining harmony and avoiding conflicts, therefore not improving in these aspects into old age, but maintaining the same thoughtfulness through early adult and older adult years. Cultural values have a large impact on values of a society just based off of norms, and therefore impacts of what is internalized by the aging population. It was found that there was a greater practice of wise reasoning strategies in the younger population of Japan, and therefore this was consistent throughout the aging population. Due to the increasing support of the government for healthcare facilities, as well as policies in place for the improvement of pension plans and workplace environment, as the proportion of aging population grows, so do the initiatives for greater opportunity. The harmonious respect for older adults in Japan's society seems to have a positive effect on successful aging. Our research study questions whether Eastern cultures are really less ageist than Western cultures. This study compared the attitudes in the cognitive, affective, and behavioral components of ageism. This being what people think, how this affects them, and their behavior regarding ageism. It was found that Eastern cultures tend to be more interdependent, working collectively as a society and therefore placing importance on people of all ages. Western cultures tend to be different from that in placing greater value on independence, personal control, and innovation. This creating a barrier between the majority of younger and older adults, where traditions and stability was found to be of greater value. For the purpose of the study, a sample size of 184 young people from the UK and 249 people from Taiwan were compared in their attitudes towards older people in order to determine if their norms and values in their culture had any implication on their respect for elders. This was referred to as the culture hypothesis. Participation of the study was voluntary and anonymous. Those who chose to participate from Taiwan used a pencil and paper to complete the questionnaire on perceptions and attitudes of older adults. Those participants from the UK completed the same questionnaire online. This questionnaire was developed in English, translated into Mandarin, and then back into English after completed. The culture hypothesis was found inconclusive, but it was found that Easterners partake in more duties in relation to their elders and hold somewhat more of a positive attitude towards older adults. This paper then argued that the idea of an ageism paradox exists, this being that there is a coexistence between positive and negative views of older adults in Eastern cultures. Limitations to the study were found in the questions asked as well as the way the research was taken. This research suggests that although someone may answer a question specific to their culture and show more of a positive or negative judgment towards older adults, this may still differ from their personal opinions or knowledge of the aging population. Therefore, there were limitations in proving the relationship between culture and personal opinions. There were also possible limitations in the way the questionnaire was completed in Taiwan. Translating the questionnaire multiple times in and out of English may have had an effect on their understanding of this questionnaire. With this, completing this questionnaire in pencil and paper leaves more room for error in the collection of their data, as well as influence in the participants' honesty in the questionnaire, in fear of shame or judgment with a physical copy of their questionnaire in hand. Although it is difficult to prove a direct relationship between culture and ageism, as a society, Japan seems to hold appreciation, wisdom, and respect very highly, with this reinforced through all ages. This therefore shows a positive correlation and impact on successful aging and the well-being socially, physically, and personally of all older adults.
Okay, so now we'll be talking about aging in Spain. So, aging population seems to be prevalent in many European countries. Spain is among one of the few countries experiencing high levels of changes for an aging population. In 2012, 17.4% of Spain's total population consisted of citizens aged 65 and older. As more and more of the baby boomer generation begins to reach the age of retirement, the Spanish society has begun to institute social changes to prepare for the increase in older citizens. By the year 2050, it is estimated that 36% of Spain's total population will be 65 and older. In roughly the next 35 years, the number of elderly citizens are expected to increase 18.6%. So what can we do to help accommodate these changes? So over the years, many changes such as policies and programs have been implemented into the Spanish society to help with the aging society. For many years, Spain has been improving their retirement policies. In 2010, the average retirement pension was 934 euros per month, which at the time was 9% of Spain's gross domestic product. In 2014, Spain was providing retirees with 103% of workers' income, the highest of all countries, with the United States and UK only providing 77% and 89% respectively to their retirees. So this graph basically just talks about it's just a visual basically of the income that the different countries, including Spain and other European countries, the percentage of what they're giving they're retirees, and then also the graph on the right just shows a projection of how much of the population will be over the age of 65. Okay, so currently, Spanish government also provides elderlies with home care and telecare services, daycare services, which include senior citizen centers and care centers for dependent elderlies, and residential care, so long-term facilities, shelter home housing, and etc. In terms of healthcare services, those who are retired receive healthcare coverage through the national health system. Um, these services include all basic health necessities, but also include pharmaceutical coverage. Spain provides both public and private care hospitals along with long-term facilities, which in later slides we will discuss what improvements can be made within long-term care. Um, in terms of policy and management tactics, Spain has appointed the Institute of the Elderly and Social Services as the leader for the social services within the social security system. Their responsibilities include creating policies and action plans to aid those in situations of dependency, but also to conduct policies and programs for the aging population. These policies and programs include management of disability and retirement pensions, complementary services and assistances for the elderly and disabled, determination of standards for the recognition of degree of disability, establishment and management of specialized care centers, and elaboration of basic standards that guarantee equality for all citizens. So, along with this, over the years, Western countries have also collectively worked together to help social acceptance of the aging population. Although many have tried to argue that westernized countries fail to include elders into society, Spain has done a fairly great job. Of course, there is always ways of making improvements, but the Spanish society has integrated programs and policies which have allowed elderlies to feel as though they are accepted into the society. It is apparent that respect for elders and caring for your elders have always played a large part of the Western culture, which in turn plays a huge role on the acceptance of the aging population. So, all of these aspects influence positive aging and the happiness of those who are aging. These influences allow not only the elderly to feel safe and well taken care of, but it also allows the society to accept that the population they live in is aging. Okay, so although Spain has worked fairly hard in creating policies and programs to help integrate the aging population into society, there are still many areas of which improvements could be applied. It is important for societies to be open to ideas of improvement, and for Spain, these improvements not only could help with the happiness and positive aging for elders, but it could also help in the economy development of the country. So, one area which could refine the living of elders is by increasing the education on long-term care facilities. Due to the lack of knowledge, elders are unaware of the services provided in Spain's long-term facilities, which in turn wastes the services and the money put into the institutions. It seems as though society has a negative image on the treatments and services provided in long-term facilities, which discourages elderlies into considering the alternative. Long-term housing also relieves the stress that may be on caregivers, especially if caregivers are spouses of those dependent. Another area of improvement involves pension plans. So, although Spain has been receiving recognition for providing the highest percentage of pension, it is important for them to understand the possible consequences. For instance, if the country continues to fund elders at such a high percentage, by the time the younger end of baby boomers reach the age of retirement, Spain won't be able to afford pension plans for all of them, especially at their rate. So it is best to gradually lower pension percentage um, to be able to properly fund future retirees. So although these are minor changes, in time they can kind of change um, the society for for elders, and it can further promote positive aging. Okay, so this image was taken from an article which explains the importance of understanding that no matter the diversity, creating an elderly acceptable environment is universal. This picture represents our topic to the fullest, as it shows ladies from different cultures still chasing the same goal, which is happiness. I think we forget that although countries may have different policies, regulations, and programs for the elderly, that the main goal is always the same. Um, this deception is definitely accurate, as it describes the importance in one, embracing the aging population, but also that the cultures may be different, but the acceptance and aging objective is still the same. This, in fact, relates to ageism, as many people believe that elderlies in different cultures desire different objectives, which is untrue. This also relates to ageism, as it gives the impression that elderlies should only associate with other elderlies, which we should all know by now isn't the case. I believe that this influences ageism is in allowing society to believe that elders don't need to be accepted into everyday society, as the picture kind of shows them in an enclosed environment with other elderlies, which shouldn't be the case. We should be integrating them as much as we can into society, as they do still play a huge role in everything about our society. So I definitely think that this picture does show ageism to the fullest.
As an endnote, we would like to reinforce that it is the social acceptance of aging within these two societies that contribute to the well-being of their aging populations. This is seen in their environment, their social life, as well as the personal regard that they hold for themselves. It is seen in studying these cultures that the high regard these cultures hold for their elders may have a positive influence in their social norms regarding ageism. Overall, the different influences of these cultures contribute to successful aging of older adults and improving opportunity, resources, and self-confidence within these populations. These are all of our resources used, and thank you very much for listening.